Hello everyone, my name is Musa David from Succeders, and today we're going to be doing an amazing broadcast titled Christmas. It's going to be amazing. The aim is to tell each and every one of you the significance of Christ's birth in Christmas. And I'm going to be hosting some very few individuals. We have David Obikwe, Emmanuel Obikwe, Emmanuel Nice, and David Akimeshi. Starting very first is Sir David, my brother over here.
Morning.
How are you doing, sir?
Very fine.
How's everything?
Fine.
So we're just going to be briefing on some questions. My very first question. If you could ask baby Jesus one question, what would it be?
Okay. If I could ask baby Jesus a question, what would it be? Yeah, I'll ask him. This question is very strategic somehow, but I'll ask him like, I really don't know what I'll ask him. Okay, let's say first of all he's a baby, and literally I can't ask him anything because he can't even talk or speak or anything. So I'll rather prefer if he's much older. You understand me?
So next question. You know that the Bible told us that there was an angelic visitation with the shepherds to announce the arrival of Jesus. What song do you think the angels sang to the shepherds? I mean, Jesus, he don't come, Jesus, he don't come. What song did the angels sing to the disciples? What song do you think the angels sang to the shepherds?
Okay, I'll rather go with Ken Walker's song where she sang "The King is here, the King is here." I don't really know all the lyrics, but I know we can go with that song.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking something like, Jesus, he don't come, Jesus, he don't come. So your final question. I really like this one. What do you think Jesus' first word will be? As a baby now, what do you think his first word will be?
Okay, every parent, like his parents will probably be teaching him how to say dada, mama and stuff like that. So I think his first word will be to call his parents. He will just call them by their names.
Now we have Emmanuel Nice. So we're going to go straight to our question. So for your first question, do you think modern Christianity fully grasps the true meaning of Christmas?
For me, I would say no, because on Christmas Day, we still have lots of people who tend to celebrate their Christmas in wrong places, where the subject of Christmas still doesn't count to them. Because, for example, you can see a Christian still going to clubs to celebrate Christmas, like that's where they throw their Christmas parties.
True.
So, I would say not everybody has actually understood the true concept of Christmas, because Christmas is a time where we celebrate the birth of Christ. And why was Christ sent to the earth, or why was he born? Was because God could reconcile mankind to himself. So if we can still have people who waste during Christmas, then I don't think we have actually understood the full concept of Christmas, because most Christians still go out instead of celebrating the subject of salvation, which was why Christ came. You find them in wrong places where salvation is not much talked about. You can't talk about salvation in club. You can't talk about salvation and you are drinking. You can't talk about salvation and you are smoking. No. So I think the essence of salvation has not been captured in this modern day. Most people feel like Christmas is just all about party. So when it's time for Christmas, it's time to party. And that's not the essence of Christmas. Yeah. Christmas is a time to celebrate the birth of Christ, and why Jesus came was to reconcile man back to God.
Okay, so how does Christmas serve as a time for spiritual reflection for you?
The aspect of Christmas, when it comes to, if it's another Christmas, it's another time to reflect and to see if truly I'm standing in the position at which, or the reason why Jesus came to die. So each time it's 25th December, it's a time to reflect, am I really saved? Because that was why Jesus came. It's time to reflect and say, okay, am I really in the right standing with God? Because Jesus came to reconcile us back to God.
Yeah.
So each time is a new Christmas, or is a time for Christmas. It's not actually a time to just eat, which is good, but it's also a time to reflect my right standing with God. Am I in the right posture with God, or am I fully with God. So to me, every Christmas is a time to reflect and look back at my life and say, okay, today is Christmas. Am I really worthy of celebrating why Jesus came? So every Christmas day is a time for me to celebrate that I'm saved. So Christ came for me to be saved. So I'm celebrating my salvation on Christmas Day. So Christmas is like every believer's birthday, where they celebrate why Christ came and which is salvation. So we celebrate our own salvation mission or our own salvation mandate on Christmas Day. So I'm saved. So I'm happy because Christ actually came to die for me to be saved.
Beautiful. That's true. Every believer needs to reflect on that day, their spiritual life, and the reason why Christ was actually born.
Yeah.
So yeah, for your final question, how can Christians ensure the message of Christ remains central in Christmas celebration for future generations?
Okay. I will say that just like how the Bible said, faith cometh by hearing and by hearing. Then they asked a question, they said, how can we hear if the message has not been preached? So I think the continuous preaching and making emphasis to the reason why Christ came or the birth of Jesus was prophesied about, if we keep pushing that message out, I think it will be a better place for us. I'll share an experience. One of my most, or I would like to say one of the best Christmas I ever had was a Christmas that I came to church and the message that was preached was really for me. So I caught the Christmas message that day, and fortunately God said, don't go home, fast. That was the first time in my life I ever fasted on Christmas Day. I had to fast, and it was really an amazing time and a refreshing time for me, because while I came to church and somebody spoke, it was like a reminder to me that okay, today is Christmas, today is a day to celebrate so and so. And then really I was actually sick, but I had one or two things I needed to touch in my life, and it was like God was saying, this day is the day for you to touch it, because my celebration will not be complete if I have gone home and ate chicken and ate rice with that thing that I had in mind. So I think if we keep preaching and pushing the message of Christ outside every Christmas, to go a long way, because many people have forgotten the reason why Christ came to die. They just believe Christmas is all about celebration, we should go around, eat, go around with friends, go to shopping malls, go to all these things are good. But if we must keep the focus or keep Christmas centered on Christ, we must keep preaching about it, letting everybody know that as you are coming to my house to eat food, you know that okay, the reason why you are here is because Christ came to die. So the death of Christ, are you partaker of it? Are you a partaker of it, or you are outside what Christ came for? So it should be something like everybody should keep reminding themselves. Like this Christmas now, watch out, nobody's going to post anything pertaining to Jesus. Everybody's posting the nearest food joint, the nearest party joint, but that's not the reason why. It's a time for us to reflect and ask ourselves as believers, are we really in Christ? Then push the message out by preaching and ensuring that the message gets to everybody.
Yeah. So with me here is David Akimeshi. Sadif, so how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. So we're moving straight to our question. So, what role does giving play in your Christmas celebration?
That's quite an interesting question, because growing up, giving has been something that I was always involved in. And when we see what role does giving play in my Christmas, it plays a lot actually, because I know I give a lot during Christmas. I try as much as possible to reach out to my friends, my family, all my loved ones. And then growing up as a young child, we used to give out our clothes, and then we try to invite as much friends as we could, and then to the house we celebrate with them, which is a form of giving, sharing of our love, and then making them have a good time. Go out with my cousins and all, and buy things for them, buy stuff for them. So yeah, I say giving plays a large role in my life. As a person, I do give to people that are close to me.
Okay, for a second question, are there any community or church activities you participate in during Christmas?
That's quite an interesting question, because in terms of activities, I don't think there are so many activities I participate in. Like my church, we have Christmas party, and then prior to the Christmas party we have Christmas carols, and probably a party just to celebrate the love of Christ and all. Okay. So like we say activities that we participate in. I think during Christmas, I think my church organizes where we bring food and clothes to share to the less privileged among us, and I think that's the only activity I kind of participate in the church with.
community and otherwise, there's nothing like that. But like the church, yeah, that's where I participate most. Yeah, I give out some. We as a family we give out food and then probably clothes to people in church when we are asked to bring. Yeah,
That's actually very nice.
thank you.
So for your final question, actually saved this very last one. I like it. Why do you think the wise men traveled so far to worship Jesus, and what can we learn from their journey?
Well, I think the wise men lived quite far from where Jesus stayed, and maybe that's one of the reasons why they had to travel far, and then they had to follow the star because he was a star. Jesus was a star, and it showed their determination to going to see him because they were going to present gifts of high value to him.
Yeah.
And what can we draw from it? As Christians, we are supposed to present ourselves as living sacrifices to Jesus, and then that means being able to walk with Christ and go far enough to be able to present our bodies living sacrifice. We are not going to get to that point at once, but as more as we walk in God, we'll be able to present our bodies as living sacrifices. And I think that's one of those things we can draw from it.
Okay. So we have someone very special in our midst, called Servant Emmanuel Obikwe. How are you doing, sir?
Good.
It's nice to have you here. Like personally, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
So we're going to go straight to our questions. And for my first questions, why do you think God chose to send Jesus into the world as a baby rather than a grown man?
So, if you look at the story of creation, when God created Adam and Eve, and when the whole fall, everything happened, you see that God gave a prophecy. He said that the seed of the woman was going to bruise the head of the serpent. So already God was actually fulfilling that prophecy by sending Jesus as a seed. That's to say, he was going to grow. He was going to experience everything that an average man will experience. And I personally feel that God had to follow that process because he had to honor the law of nature for Jesus to find expression here on earth as a man, because it can only take a man to save a man, and we as men, we cannot save ourselves except God as a man. So that's why I believe God had to send Jesus as a baby to go through the laws of creation, the laws of the earth, nature, to grow as a child. Thank you.
I mean, when the word Christmas comes to mind, what do you think of?
Yeah, interesting. You know, we live in a world today where most people, especially in the Western world, have replaced the person of Jesus in Christmas with Santa Claus, and just the way they replaced Easter with the whole Easter bunny. So for me, I see Christmas as a day where we celebrate Jesus, his birth and his incarnation. It's not just a day where, you know, we come together. All of those things are important. Not just a day where we come together, eat chicken, visit one person. It's a day where, you know, we are reminded of the incarnation of Jesus, and we are also reminded to share the love of God.
Okay, now for your final question, do you have a memorable Christmas experience that you'd love to share?
My favorite Christmas experience, well, I'll just say it was in 2022 when, you know, after church service, already said from the church service, there's this me and my friend, wonderful. We went to see one of our friends, we collected malt. from there we went to Emmanuel's house, we ate rice and chicken. From there we went to Karen's house, we ate another rice with turkey leg. From there we came to Akim Sherry's house. So that was the best Christmas experience for me because I spent it with the people I love so much.
Yeah, that's actually true. Nice talk.
Thank you.
So we've come to the end of our broadcast. So do you have any final words? Is there anything you want to say?
Okay. First of all, I really want to appreciate you for coming by, and please do well to hit the subscribe button and stay updated with all of our content. And then secondly, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only begotten son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but what? Have everlasting life. So please do not forget the focus of Christmas is all about Jesus, his birth. So take out time to share the love of God. Do well to give gifts to your loved ones, even to people who are believers and non-believers. And the Lord will grant you all your heart desires and bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As I said, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment, and stay updated. We'll be dropping a whole lot of content during this festive period.